It's with great pleasure I would like to introduce our first speaker of today, an inspirational leader in urban regional planning sector. Please let's welcome Dr. MEGHA PHANSALKER. And as she's here, yes, fantastic. And I'll read quickly her profile, very extended profile, but just a bit summarized here for us to, move very quickly. She's an urban regional planner with over 20 years experience, specializing in community-led development in rural water supply, rural and urban sanitation, and rural development with focus on livelihoods. She works the World Bank since 2007 in multiple water sanitation and livelihood projects. She is the founder of Teaser Artisans Trust, which supports rural artisans across 18 states, helping thousands of artisans' families earn livelihood through the enterprise model, supporting end-to-end value chain from creating producer group, making unique products for urban consumers. She has been South Asia's representative for 3 years on the steering committee of Water Supply Sanitation Collaborative Council Geneva, a body with UNOPS. She's also the chair for the governance committee. Fantastic profile. As an advisor with CUI, which is Center for Urban Innovation, she helps the center pilot innovation and take them to scale to make the urban cities a better place to live. She's transforming lives in different ways. I don't even know, Dr. Megan, I don't know where to start. You are helping the whole world. How are you doing this? And she's going to take us on this topic called developing the entrepreneurial mindset and exploring services that are high in demand. Please, I'm yielding the floor now to a beautiful, wonderful Dr. Megan. Thank you so much for joining in, and we are ready for you. Please take over.
Thank you for this elaborate introduction, and I'm so happy to be here on this beautiful topic which inspires women to become entrepreneurs. So, the topic today for the next 20 minutes, I'll be your speaker, and the session has been divided into three parts. The first part is my story, the second part is our story, and the third part is your story. So we will go in that sequence so that we are structured around the session. So when we start with my story, I'll take you to year 1992. I'm 25 years old, 24 rather, and I have completed my urban and regional planning from School of Planning Ahmedabad CEPT. With before that another masters with three gold medals, some gold medals in the horse riding at the national level, and very aspirational women in the career side and sports, a mixed kind of environment. Then 1992 I get married, and I register for PhD with a UGC fellowship, and then between those 5 years I have two kids. So imagine two kids and a PhD delivered together in 5 years. So then after 20 on 2000 or 20 onwards, I've been working in the sector after the PhD, and I continue to work in the sector. It The journey travels through World Bank and UNDP and FAO and multiple such organizations. I've been working very closely nationally, internationally, South Asia, and other countries. And development sector is the focus: water sanitation, rural livelihood, urban planning, and all that. Then comes 2015, and I got inspired to focus on my own entrepreneurial journey with lot of hesitation and concerns from the house, that who starts your own entrepreneurship, who sells things, you don't know how to know a business, you don't know, you have in our family never nobody has done business. So I always tell them that it's livelihood for me. But fortunately or unfortunately, in the sector which I am entering as an entrepreneur, there is a product to be sold. Until a craft is sold, there is no livelihood. So it's a business as well. And then comes 2015, where I started to serve. It's a French word, and it's a French word for weaving. And we started with a hybrid model. The hybrid model is such that there is a trust, not for profit, which supports on the women empowerment, community development, cluster development, end-to-end value chain, institutional strengthening, business entrepreneurship, women empowerment. All those keywords which we think about it are part of the trust. But as I said, there is a product to be sold, because if we don't sell a product, there's no livelihood. If you make a fabric with a hand weaving, if you make a jewelry with a handloom, hand crafting, it has to be sold. And that's why there is this private limited, which is required, because there are a lot of Indian laws which do not allow a trust to do active sales. So then there is this 10 years journey of mine up to now. It started with two people, me and the helper, but now we have 8 offices in the country with 75 plus staff, and we are impacting in more than 18 states with 10,000 plus people. And as a last part of my story, which started again now, that you remember I told you I was a horse rider for 10 years with the gold medals at the national level. So just 4 months back, I again started horse riding. Why the gap? Because you need to get a horse to ride. And while I got the horse in between once or twice, maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, 1 or 2 horses I got, and I did riding in between, but it was not like a regular basis. And at this age, I'm 57 now. At this age, starting horse riding is a bit adventurous, but I'm truly enjoying it 3 days a week. And so that's the journey. That's my journey. Of course, I have two kids. My daughter is 30 and my son is 29. Daughter married and son is about to get married. So that journey is going on, which they were born during my PhD. That was in 93 and 94. Now they are in their age they are, with their careers respectively. The second part of our speaking session starts now, which is called Our Story. Why our story? Because while the my story talked about me, the our story is like how you and me and the thought process will help you create your own story. So understand one thing, that entrepreneurship is a roller coaster ride. While when you sit at the roller coaster, you are so afraid, so worried about those goosebumps and that everything happening in your stomach. And when you are on the roller coaster ride, up there going down, zoom, that time you feel, oh my god, who told me to sit here, who pushed me here, because it's so much of things happening in your stomach. But by the time you get down, the faces are so happy, the eyes are sparkling, and you have enjoyed it. So, an entrepreneur's journey is always like a roller coaster ride. There are going to be these ups and downs, which will take you and make you feel why. Who told you to be in this space? But trust me, that's the best journey one can have in own life. There are 4 5 words which are really important when you step up in an entrepreneurship journey. And because I have done that, being a professional, and I do continue to do my profession as well, but being in this space. The first word is that whenever you think of become an entrepreneur, think of the purpose, why you are becoming. That why should haunt you 24 by 7. Why? Why are you doing this? Is this a need of the society? Is the need for you? Is there some problem you want to solve? So why? Just keep on thinking why 10 times whenever you want to become an entrepreneur. The second point is, where does the passion lie? In your heart, whichever topic you are choosing, or whichever sector you are choosing, or whichever area of entrepreneurship choosing, are you passionate about it? Why is there are so many problems, but you are not here to solve the global problems, okay? Of course everybody should Everybody is a change maker. But also, where does your passion lie? Problems are there, but does your passion align to any one of the problem? And that is where you say ki, where that why and where. The third point comes compassion. That whom do you see you are going to impact? Everything you do in this life has a positive and negative impact, either positively on you, on the climate, on the nature, on the mother earth, or vice versa. So whom are you going to impact? Is it for inclusivity you are doing? Is it for differently able you are doing? Is it for youth you are doing? Is it for children you are doing? Is it for mother earth you are doing? So what is your compassion behind it? Passion is one thing, problem is one thing, but where does the compassion come from? Whom are you compassionate maximum? Does climate impact you? Does you feel for the earth, or you feel for the people on the earth, or you feel for the animals on the earth? What is your compassion that is driving your passion? And then you are towards the problem. And when you identify these three, the fourth point is that what action you are going to take. So when you talk of the action, just understand one thing, that the just take an example of the seed, that on the earth, any seed which is sown, it will grow. It does grow. Nature produce, there are so much huge jungles in the world, so huge forests in the world, that they have produced themselves. You and me didn't go to put the seeds there. There are flower valleys, there are so many flowers going in the nature 25 by 7. So there is always a conducive environment in the world for everybody. Forget the seed. But when you are sowing the seed, you should know that what is the purpose of the seed. Do you want a cactus? Do you want a aloe vera plant? Do you want a rose to grow? Do you want a sugar cane to grow? Do you want a mango tree to grow? Do you want a banyan tree to grow? Every tree has a different seed. Every tree has a different life cycle. Every tree has a different fruit. Every tree has a different purpose. So, when you are sowing the seed of entrepreneurship, it is really important to understand that what is the purpose, what is the passion, what is the compassion, and then you take the action. So, action is the sowing the seed. And now that the seed has sown, now that you have thought enough, how you grow it is the crux. Do you want to be in the not for profit sector? Do you want to be in a profitable business sector and create a brand? Do you want to be in a fashion sector and do for the recycling of the fabric? Or do you want to use the natural grass which is growing there and do basketry? Or do you want to focus on the raw material which is around and create a brand of the natural millets or something? So, how you do it? Yes, that's the beauty. Now the seed has sown, but how you plant it, how you nurture it, how you water it, how you grow it, how do you collaborate it with others. And there the word comes of connection and collaboration. So no entrepreneur can grow without connection and collaborations, because a tree also doesn't grow alone. There is a connection with the sun. There is a connection with a human being. There is a connection with the earth. So everywhere the roots are going below. So there is a connection and collaboration which comes when you have done the first three, fourth, and then the seed is sown. And now you have to grow, you have to collaborate, and you have to connect. The ecosystem is really, really very good for women. Let me tell you. While there are pros and cons of being a woman entrepreneur, there are pros and cons of even for the men. I remember as a horse rider, whenever I used to earn a medal or a trophy, the papers used to cover me across and not the male counterpart. Because as a human, as a society, people would love to see a female horse rider. That's really aspiring. So the society does encourage a woman entrepreneur. While, as I said, there are pros and cons. And we all know the pros and cons. The pros of being a woman and the cons of being a woman. And they translate as an entrepreneur. We know we have to take care of family, we have to take care of relations and households and so many other things. But then men have different responsibilities also. So let's not go into that battle of men and women. But as an entrepreneur, women are encouraged in all societies now. The startup ecosystem is really encouraging. And trust me, if you sow the seed after due consideration of what the problem you are going to solve, what's the solution you are going to create, how unique is your entrepreneur journey, what are you contributing towards the climate or earth or neighborhood or society or your people or your nation, and how you're going to become a job giver rather than a job seeker. And now the last part, and because we have limited time and I want the session floor to be open for the questions as well. Now the last part is that every day suddenly a top up comes from the god, and you awake in the morning with 24 hours in your hand. You know what is a top up? Mobile has a, you can top it up. Your basic plan goes, and then there is a top up. So death is certain for all of us. Life is uncertain. But every day, when you wake up, at least God has given you that day. And when you wake up, God has given so many other people around you that day. So, first of all, let's celebrate that day. And the best way to celebrate is that live your purpose. And since the top up has come, and day in and day out it's coming, nobody can guarantee. So, maximize your top up because it's free. So, maximize your top up, give back to the country, give back to the society, whatever you can, your energy, your time, your money, and that's how you can contribute to the back to the society and the people you come from. And trust me, the happiness it gives to an entrepreneur to grow a baby and hold a baby apart from your own babies, your own entrepreneurship journey, your own brand, it's it's the ultimate reward. And trust me, your people, now family, my family started recognizing my efforts. Of course there are still so many questions that why you are sabotaging your career and why do you want to focus on this and all that. But if you are convinced, you can give the results and you can make others convinced. First you need to be convinced about all the things you are doing. You need to be convinced why entrepreneurship is important. And entrepreneurship does not mean that you do stop all the other things, you take so much of stress. It has to be a happy journey. I remember I told you it has to be a roller coaster ride. So it make it a happy journey, and that is why I choose what makes you give, which makes your face happy, which makes your family happy, which makes a contribution back, but gives you so much of happiness. The radiance should come on your face. And also the last point, whatever education you have taken, whatever education you have taken, and entrepreneurship is an everyday learning. It's a hands-on job daily. So it just does not matter. I never came from a craft background. I never came from a fashion background. I never came from a textile background. With no history of my family doing business in their life, I started this initiative because my focus is livelihood, which 20 years it is. It's not new for me. So my compassion and passion is livelihood. I chose craft as a vehicle to travel in my entrepreneurship journey. And trust me, like all the degrees with a doctorate in an information system, which was done with two kids born together, is is now being used. How I bring information technology in my craft tech, how I bring innovation in my craft tech, how I used AI in the craft. So everything is coming back to me, which I had learned in my urban planning. So now we are doing a project which is waste to wealth, where I'm using rack pickers and sanitation workers, which is my urban planning background, to create creative products. So everything comes back. Don't just think that, oh, I am an engineer, I am a doctor, I am a dentist, I am a school teacher. How can I become an entrepreneur? No, it's not like that. Your journey, your experience will help you throughout. And I think that was my a little talk to you. And it's open to, the floor is open to question and answers, whatever way we do the coordination by the host. But also
Okay.
remember, I'm always there to reach out to you through my LinkedIn and any other method you want to connect to me. And it's not that we are just collaborating for this 1 hour, 1, 2 days. The connection has done now. The conference has done the connection. I'm always there to collaborate for anything you want in your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Megha. I really appreciated your session so much because it really took me back. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I know that everything you say is facts. There is nothing she said that is new. Everybody goes through the same process over and over again. But one thing stood out is the assurance that you know what you are doing. So I would like questions now from anyone. Okay, I have a question here. Um, what has been your biggest overall learning point in your journey so far? Yes, I
Every
have
day
two
is a
questions
learning.
here.
That's the biggest learning point. Every day is a learning.
Yeah, learning.
I have to answer, or we are
Every
taking
day is a
questions
learning.
together?
So, is there anyone
Every
that
day is
you
a
want?
learning.
No, it's time for the question. We have someone from the chat box, a participant who asks, "What has been your biggest overall learning point in your journey so far?" Your
Yeah.
biggest, the
So
one that really changed your mind, or yes.
as I said, every day is a learning, but the biggest learning point is that entrepreneurship is the best thing to happen to anybody, and it gives you so much of canvas to work. I have been a consultant. I've been with World Bank, and the way I used to support and advise and give a knowledge is you are on the other side of the table, and as an entrepreneur you're on the other side of the table. So I think the biggest learning is that entrepreneurship has to be embraced by everybody in the life, at least for once, small or big.
Okay, so entrepreneurship allows us to grow as
As a human being.
people and as human beings, and because you need multiple skills, diverse skills. You just clearly said that you are now using all your skills from your PhD and your career that you initially were in to presently work through your help your artisans create better crafts, which obviously if they asked you maybe 20 years ago, you probably would not think it's going to be of any value to anybody, but right here you are, you're changing lives. I don't know, let me check if they have one more question here. So I would ask another question. I want to ask, what strategies can entrepreneurs use to anticipate customer needs, ensuring their services remain relevant and in high demand?
Okay, that high demand is a very good question. So,
Yes.
for farmers, there is always one advice: grow that you can sell, right? Grow that you can sell. Don't grow which you can't sell. It doesn't make sense unless you're using for own subsistence. And the same thing applies for an entrepreneur. Do which makes, which where there is a demand. If recycling of fabric is in demand, focus your energy there. If developing a product which is in demand, focus on that, because a demand is always linked to a problem. A demand is always linked to a purpose. Otherwise, there is no demand. So just keep that in mind. You should not do anything which is not in demand, because your time should not be wasted in creating demand. Your time should be invested only in handling the demand. Demand should be there. And trust me, there is demand for so many things. Now, people are making shoes from tires, people are making vegan leather from mango plant, people are making clothes from bananas. So, demand will always be there, but you have to be very, very different and innovative in your demand. The innovation can be anywhere. It can be in the supply chain, it can be in the product, it can be in the thought process. Innovation is not, you have to search. You don't need to search for innovation. Just to create innovation where
Yes.
and when possible. So demand is really important, but don't try to create a demand. If they exist, just try to locate them.
Well, thank you so much for the wonderful insight. Our session has come to an end, but please stay back and answer questions in the chat box, and so that we can move on to another speaker. But thank you so much. One of my key highlights